Wow, I never thought that even talking about my culture shocks would get me so amped up or anxious. What's up? What's Gucci? What's poppin'? It's your girl, Rachel Geronimo! Your go-to travel influencer for simple travel tips, tricks, and adventures. I just recently moved to Seoul. Since I moved to a new town, I'm still getting used to things. I'm still trying to figure things out, which reminded me of some of the culture shocks that I've experienced over the past 2 years of traveling internationally. Now, if you're asking yourself, what is culture shock? Have I experienced culture shock? Or am I going through culture shock right now? Don't worry, I got you. According to themedium.com, culture shock is more than simply being unfamiliar with social norms or experiencing new foods, and it tends to impact travelers even after they become familiar with and comfortable in new culture. There are 4 phases of culture shock: honeymoon, frustration, adjustment, and acceptance. As I share you guys my 5 culture shocks, I will categorize them within the 4 different phases that themedium.com provides. If you are dealing with culture shock right now, or if you have gone through culture shock, hopefully this video is a reassurance to you that you're not alone going through this. I got you, sis. I got you, bro. I'm with you. And I'm gonna be talking about how I dealt with these culture shocks and what it has taught me. Before we get started with the video, guys, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss another trip tip with me. With that being said, let's get to the video. Let's talk about the time that I lived in Taiwan. This was my very first culture shock. Usually in October, what would we celebrate in America? Halloween. Well, in Taiwan, Halloween is not as commonly celebrated. I wasn't able to participate in the holiday festivities as I properly would back in America. So that's when it started to sink in. Okay, well, there's people don't really celebrate Halloween here. So I guess for Halloween, I'm just gonna do my own thing and watch scary movies with my friends and have candy. Then November came around the corner and I realized, this is kind of different, because I would start to get ready for Thanksgiving and smelling all the turkey and the pumpkin pie, and we'd be cooking and chefing it at home, you know? Like having that family bond that I was used to, it wasn't there. Then Christmas came along and that's when I hit a wall. I was a lot more sad during that time, because usually for Christmas, I would sit down and have a proper Christmas dinner with my family. And I didn't get that feeling at all when I was living in Taiwan. I felt lonely for Christmas. Even though I had Linda by my side, we had a great dinner. We didn't have your typical American dinner with like pumpkin pie and turkey and mashed potatoes or everything. We just had normal beef noodle soup and we went home to watch Netflix. I didn't feel like Taiwan celebrated a lot of American holidays. And so that was a little bit weird for me. So if I could categorize this culture shock, it was within the adjustment stage. That was a time where I realized, okay, well, now that I live abroad, I need to accept the fact that this was going to happen to me more often than I think. I'm going to be a traveler, I'm going to experience this, and it's something that I should embrace at all times. So that was culture shock number 1. Let's move on to the next culture shock number 2. This was in India. We are talking about the time that I was in New Delhi. When I was researching about New Delhi, there was this street that really stood out to me the most. Chandi Chowk. I'm sorry if I'm saying it the most improper way, but if you know the proper way to say this name, please comment below. I did some proper research of Chandi Chowk and I felt like I knew what I was going into. Now, Chandi Chowk is said to be one of the most top busiest streets in New Delhi, and I wanted to go. I wanted to experience it all. I thought that I was fully prepared to experience what I'm going to go see. That was not the case. When we first arrived to the street, it was okay. I was like, all right, I got this. Like, few scooters going back, few tuk-tuks going back and forth. It was a little bit busy. And then we got into the center area, and that's when it was just all insane. Everywhere I looked, there was always something happening. I'm used to being like in a fast-moving paced environment, but this was on a next level. I could barely walk. The streets were crowded. There was a baby walking past me, a goat running past me, a cow in the middle, someone trying to sell me things.
Could we interest you in some chocolate?
A person trying to ask me for money, people running, people walking, children playing in the streets. Everybody is walking everywhere. And it was overwhelming. How I dealt with that situation, I just ran. I wanted to get out there as soon as possible. I couldn't handle it. Even though I did a lot of research about this particular street, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna be fully prepared what I'm going to experience. Now looking at it, I've learned to just be more open-minded about anything that I experience when it comes to traveling. That was the time that I was in New Delhi. Check out Chandi Chowk. I still highly recommend visiting the street so you can see what it's like. Maybe this experience is going to be different for you, but for me, I was quite overwhelmed. Number 3. This is the time that I was in Malaysia. Everything really wasn't going my way. And that's to be expected when it comes to travel. I was stressed, man. I was so stressed. My phone blew up, and I think I've mentioned this previously in one of my old videos. I purchased an adapter in the flea market, and basically at the flea market I bargained for my adapter. I got my adapter. It was so cool. It was about 50 cents, you know, and I plugged it in the wall, and then poof, my phone blew up. Not only that, I lost my portable charger. I was trying to find ways to get around without a phone. Malaysia, not looking at it, was it a English-friendly country? I would say somewhat. There are some people that could speak English, some people couldn't speak English, so it was hard to communicate. I can't blame Malaysia for this because it's personal for me, but all that happened in Malaysia, which just gave me just a huge culture shock within just travel itself. With this culture shock, I would categorize it with frustration. That's why I feel like I need to go there again. Woo! That was a lot. Number 4, I just spoke about Korea, and I was just craving for a Caesar salad. I can get it anywhere in America. Some people may disagree with what I'm about to say, but I can't find a decent Caesar salad here in Korea. I love Korean food, don't get me wrong. I love my Korean snacks, but sometimes I've been missing the things from back home and they're not available here. Now, I just got frustrated the other day because there wasn't a Caesar salad. How would I categorize this? Culture shock, frustration, and adjustment. And a culture shock from America. I had culture shock in America. I knew that I had culture shock in America when I saw a yellow school bus driving past, and I was freaking out. I was like, holy shit, does anybody see that? It's a yellow school bus. Now, people from back home would be like, yeah, that's a normal yellow school bus. But for someone that hasn't seen a yellow school bus for a year, it was so foreign to me. After living in Taiwan for a year, I was always used to having like students or just younger people commute with public transportation on a scooter or in a car. There wasn't necessarily a normal school bus. I lived in America like my whole life, and going to Taiwan and living there for a year, I didn't realize something so simple like a yellow school bus would give me culture shock. Ooh! I did not expect all my culture shocks would take this long to explain. But yeah, guys, these are my 5 top culture shocks that I've experienced through my travels for the last 2 years. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, for letting me be all up in your face. Cheers and safe travels. All I want is a Caesar salad. Woo! Tired.